So for you guys who have been following my Instagram account, a couple of days ago I posted a story of me doing a sort of deep dive into the three Batman movies, Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight Rises. And I stated that it's my favorite trilogy. That and Equalizer. They're equal for me. They're very, no pun intended. But um I want to do maybe like a four-part breakdown of the Batman Begins. I'm not going to do this in a style where I'm going scene by scene and analyzing things. I'm just taking random themes or events and just getting a Christian teaching out of them. So today's one is going to be about the introduction to the character of Bruce Wayne. Something I appreciate Christopher Nolan doing was expanding on the introduction to who is Bruce Wayne, how did his parents die, how did this affect him psychologically. He didn't just jump into the movie and say, here's Batman and this is what he's about. This is how he lives his life. I really enjoyed the progression and how we grew with him, how we felt his experience, how we were able to understand that this guy is a very hurt person, becoming an orphan, watching both of his parents be killed in front of him. This shaped his sort of psyche into what was needed to become Batman. And if you've seen the movie, you'll understand what I'm saying. We grow with him, we spend time with him, and we see the the montage of him going up to the League of Shadows base on the mountain and going through that rigorous sort of training, adapting his physical body and his sort of psychological attitude towards crime, towards justice, and how it all unfolds. And then we get to see him go back to Gotham and we get to see what he's about, what his mission is now. We know why he uses bats. He was terrified of bats and now he wants the people that he's fighting to also be terrified of bats, and so on and so forth. Now, knowing all of this and made us want him to succeed. We were with him, we were there. And this, I argue, is something that we really miss in our day-to-day interactions with people because we're busy, because we think we have no time. We don't give people the time of day to express themselves or maybe share a story with us. And so we never really get to know people. We don't get to know what's the reason they behave like this. What happened when you were a child? Because all of these experiences that all of us have been through shape us into who we are today. There are reasons for everything. Every single behavior, every single inclination, every single attitude that we have, it comes from a mixture of factors, our genetic makeup, our environment, all these things, how we were raised. So I argue that if we were to get to know the people around us, we would be a lot more empathetic towards them. Now, this topic of judging others, it comes up a lot in the Orthodox Church, and the fathers have a lot to say about this. There's an analogy I heard a priest say, which is to look at someone, pretend it's a mother or a father with a young child in the shopping center, and the child is acting out and screaming its head off. And for us to look at them and make a judgment and be like, man, this is a horrible parent. Look at how they're letting their child behave. For us to make a judgment call on them is like me picking up a massive book, or I don't have any other books, I've got the Bible here. Me picking up this huge book, flicking it to a random page, looking at one sentence, and then judging the whole book by by that one sentence. You know, you're getting one snippet of someone's entire life, just that moment, and you're making a judgment call in a big way and labeling them as something. Now, of course, this is foolish. Again, like I was saying, we don't know what happened in their past, but we also, it's not the end of the book, is it? Is this the end of their life? We don't. What do we know about their ending? What do we know about where it's going to lead them, this life? Maybe they're going to change. Maybe it was a wrong judgment. Maybe it was a bad day. Maybe the day before they lost their parent. Maybe something huge happened to them. Maybe they lost their job. They're under a lot of stress, and this is them acting out. Now, another way of judging people, we might think it's an okay way to judge people. But it's also a very slippery slope, which is to judge people for the good. For example, you look at me, look at this guy, he's got a YouTube and he talks about Jesus, he must be a good person, he must be so good. And you start to judge me in a good way. You start to lift me up on a pedestal. And then one day you see me out committing a sin, acting indecent, and then this makes you stumble and makes you say, man, this guy that I was looking up towards that taught me so many things, now he's doing these things. Like, what's all this Christianity stuff even about? And this is sort of the priest which was explaining this concept to us years ago, was saying that, even judging a priest, saying he's the greatest and he's this and he's got the best voice and he's the best, and then if you make him your Jesus, if you make him the person you look up to the most, and he does something, or God forbid, he departs from the faith or anything, then that's a huge stumbling block for ourselves that we put there. Of course, we can praise people and we can show reverence, respect towards the priesthood and the priests, but we have to have a sort of solid foundation where we understand that these are people, these are human beings with inclinations, with every desire that we have. Sure, they're a part of the priesthood, sure, they're a lot perhaps stronger than us in the faith, but they're also struggling. So to judge anyone, whether in a good or bad way, it's not always helpful, especially in the good way. So we've got to be careful, right? You don't want to judge someone saying, man, this guy's no good, this guy's this. We don't know what happened the day before, or maybe we don't know what their whole life was like. We don't even know if we were in their shoes how we would turn out, right? And then on the other hand, if we see someone in authority, someone with a page, someone that's a priest, a monk, a bishop, and to say they're the best and they're this, and then, God forbids something happens to them, or they turn, or they do something, then it makes us question our whole identity as a Christian, our whole entire faith. So we look to the saints as examples. They have finished the race, amazing. They're brilliant examples. We have people around us that we learn from. Of course, I learn from people 10 years younger than me. No worries, that's fine. But we never put them on the pedestal and idolize and think this person is perfect and he's amazing, he or she is amazing, and we look at them like that. No, Christ was perfect. Christ is our example. The saints, their lives, the way they lived, yes, we can learn from them. But to judge someone in this life right now before they finish the race, it's a tricky slope to go down. So that was just part one. I've got 4 parts for the Batman Begins series. If you like this, if you have more ideas to give me, that's fine. I'd love to hear it. If you think this sort of content helps people, or this is some sort of content that can reach people that wouldn't necessarily open a video of a priest or a bishop speaking, or a video of a church, of the inside of a church. Look, this is what I'm doing this for. I'm just trying to connect culture, something that maybe someone that can relate to, and then bring a spiritual concept such as judging. That's what this is about. So please share with people for their edification and for the glory of our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you guys so much.